So, good morning, everyone. My name is Alex Michael, and I'm a DevOps engineer in Bincom Dev Center. So, I'm here to present a topic: troubleshooting basic computer problems. And I would like to give an introduction of the topic. We know as techies, we run into one or two issues with our computer devices, and sometimes we get fed up having to be stuck with a particular challenge. So what we are trying to address today are the things that you can do in order to act as a first aid to solve that problem. Just take it as a paramedic, for example. Whenever there's an accident, you find out that maybe, of course, one or two people come to attend to the issue, maybe with a first aid box and all that, but that does not actually make them the doctors. So it is a doctor who actually goes and have to treat that particular illness or disease or injury, but it is not the job of the paramedics to treat. So that is how it is for techies. So we should have basic knowledge on how to troubleshoot computers, how to troubleshoot phones, tablets, and all that, so that we don't actually have to wait till when it escalates to be a big issue before we start tending to the problem. So let me move to my next slide. So what is troubleshooting? Troubleshooting usually describes the act of fixing problems that cause machines, especially computers, to stop working or work suboptimally or otherwise do something irregular. So that is what troubleshooting has to do with, whenever you find out that your device is not working the way it's meant to be. Maybe you have a phone. I'm using a phone, for example, because all of us use one phone or the other. And you find out that, okay, you woke up in the morning and it is not on. Yes, that means there's an issue. And the next thing you have to start doing is, okay, fine, how do I fix it? What is that first thing I have to do? Should I try this? Should I try B? Should I try C in order to fix the problem? So that is what troubleshooting is all about. It's not all about you having to open the device, you having to, having to take a screwdriver, to open. It's not until when you do that you start troubleshooting. It can be as little as just checking your Wi-Fi if it's on or off. It can be as little as just, restarting your device. So a basic representation of the troubleshooting process looks something like this. So let me go to the next slide. Identify the specific problem. So the first thing you should do is identify the specific problem. The second thing you should do is consider relations to similar scenarios. Think, okay, fine. Has this happened before? Has it happened to somebody? Has it happened to a friend? Then the next thing you have to do is to hypothesize and trace common causes. Okay, fine. You have to, brainstorm. You have to juggle your memory and say, okay, fine. How can I do this? Okay, if I do this, I do that. Is it going to actually solve the problem? Then the next thing we have to do is to test relevant components, having to test some parts. Okay, fine. Is this part actually working? Is this part not working? What could really be the issues? Then the next thing is to implement a solution to the problem. So of course, whenever you have you've tried one or two things and you find out that they've not worked rather, then you can go as far as trying some other things, which at the end of the day, it might end up working. But just try making sure that after testing, you do it. You make sure that you put to action whatever you are testing. Then verify that the issue is resolved. So after testing and testing, of course, you have to look, okay, this issue that I'm trying to solve, is it working now? So you have to do some basic checks. So that is what it means. So 10 common computer problems and how to troubleshoot them. So we'll be having 10, though I don't know if we'll be able to finish it, but anywhere we stop, then we know we've gone through some. So the first one is my computer runs slowly. A lot of us have this issue. A lot of us have this issue. We've had it in tech support, even before joining infrastructure. I have also been faced with the same issue. It might not even just be my computer alone, it can even be my phone. So the general description of this problem is this: your computer takes a long time to boot up. Programs take a long time to open, and both system and application functions take longer than usual to respond to inputs. So just look at a scenario where your phone, let's take your phone, for example, it's when you click on an application expecting it to spin up and then you start action immediately, you find out that it takes a very long time to boot. Or look at the situation where you try to on your computer and you see your Windows icon, and then you start seeing it rolling and rolling and rolling, booting and booting and booting, and it's not getting to the desktop page where you really want to work on time. So that is the scenario we are trying to see here. And what are the common causes? One of these is that you have too many windows open at a time or too many programs running at once. Now, some time ago, I actually did a presentation here in the KD session, and I talked about in the days of cyber cafes where you go to the cyber cafe and then you are working and all of a sudden you mention that I'm having a slow network. One of the things that the admin or the attendant will say is that you should reduce the number of tabs that you have opened, because one of the things it does is that they all run in the background. Yes, it might not be showing up on your screen. That's fine. I am working on, let's just say Bincom.net. It might not be showing on your screen, but the truth is that as long as that tab is opened, it is also consuming some, it's actually working. It's actually working in the background in terms of maybe updating information, in terms of also taking some of that is reducing some of the performance that the browser does, because of course the more tabs you open, the more the browser works, and the more the browser works, of course something is actually giving it that speed to work, and which is the processor. So of course it is always advisable that you reduce the number of tabs you are working on. If you don't need a particular tab, then you have to close it. So we have another cause, which might be your computer registry is fragmented or corrupted. So that is why so many times when this happens, the next thing you have to do is either you troubleshoot, in the sense that you have to off and on it. If you don't off and on it, or rather if you off and on it and it's not working the way it's supposed to, okay, fine, then you have to start escalating to an engineer. Your computer has installed a virus or other malware programs. Of course, during the course of I'm putting my flash into another person's system and then I'm putting it back into my system. Of course, those are the ways virus actually moves from one device to another. And of course, as most of us are technology inclined, we do a lot of things on the web. And some of these sites are malicious. Some of these sites contains malwares, which will infect your computer immediately you enter into the sites. And that is why it is recommended that the Web3 application, or rather the Web3 browsers are being used. And that is because of security, because of it reduces these issues of having to go into sites where you have a virus waiting to just infect your device. Then we have another common cause, which is that your computer doesn't have enough RAM to run all programs you want it to. Yes, I could remember a time when I was to work on a mail reconfiguration for one of our users, and the person was not able to do hers that day. And by the time we looked into our computer capacity, as in the properties, we found out that she was using a 2 gig RAM. So at a time like this, 2 gig RAM is small, because applications, the way applications run those days, the way they were heavy, their size and all that, their performance is different from the way applications are right now. Now applications are robust. Now applications are heavier. Now applications can do a lot of things. And of course, because these applications are actually powerful, then it is expected that, of course, your host machine, which is your local PC, must also be of standard, or else you find out that your applications will always run slow. So, of course, a low RAM can cause computers to actually go slowly, run slowly. So troubleshooting suggestion, one of it is that close any windows and quit any programs that you aren't immediately using. So of course, if we're having so many windows, or should I say so many tabs opened, maybe in a browser, close some. And if we're working, you are the type that, of course, you are on VLC, you are on Visual Studio, you are on Pinnacle, you are on one application and the other, and you have everything open at the same time, it is very advisable for you to close those windows that you are not using, reduce them. The other is that go to your control panel and uninstall old programs that you can use, that you don't use anymore, rather. So yes, some of us, which I am also included, we don't like uninstalling programs that we've not used. We prefer, one day I will need it, and I don't want to, I don't want to remove it from my computer. So it is actually advisable that once, fine, I was a graphic designer. Now I have upped my game to, let me just say, I have upped it to, let me say, development. Yes, it is true that once in a while I can still want to do some graphics, and I still want to design one thing or the other, but at the same time, I don't need it. Now, the truth is that it depends on the person's personality. If you feel that you still use it regularly, fine. But if you don't, it's better you just remove it. Removing does not mean that you've lost the skill. The thing is that you are not using it for the meantime, especially when you're having this problem. Then open your task manager and stop programs or processes that don't need to be running. Under is install and run an antivirus program to repair infected files. And it is very good to actually have antivirus programs on your computer. You don't know what these antivirus are doing, not until when your computer is infected. Sometimes we see some free antivirus and say, fine, it is free and it is working. The truth is that they are not working optimally, because they only have a level which they can work, and then there are some type of malwares that the computer can actually be infected with that it can't handle, and you need to upgrade. So take your computer to a repair shop to get its RAM upgraded. Yes, if you are using a 2 gig RAM, please up it to maybe 6 gig, up it to 8 gig, depending on what you do. If you just do a Microsoft Word and Excel and only, maybe the 2 gig RAM can be fine for you. But if you are in the development area, if you are in the graphic design area, for me, it's not advisable to use a 2 gig RAM. So another problem is that I'm stuck on a blue screen. Now, they call this blue screen the screen of death. So what is this description? What does it mean? As you can see over here, this is the error you get. And from what I can see from this image, says an error has occurred. To continue, please press enter to return to Windows. So when you start seeing all this, it's blue, and then it's like, okay, where am I going to go from here? Know that this is the screen of death, and you're having this kind of message. So what does it mean? This is more officially known as stop error, and it shows up when your computer's operating system determines that it can't run your computer safely at the moment. It has various causes, some of which are more serious than others. Be sure to read the specific error message for hints on what went wrong. Now, there's something I just saw here that just caught my fantasy or imagination. I actually got a message from, or should I say I was advised some weeks back, if not last week, that if you want to be a good engineer, if you want to be a good system administrator, and even a developer, you must always learn to read errors. You must always learn to, okay, fine, this thing has actually, the computer has given you an output, and then it's telling you something that, it is not what you expect. What you expected is that this particular command, this particular script, it just runs and it gives me my expected result. But this time it is giving me something else. Now, do not shy away. Do not say, it is not working. And then the next thing you do is that you are starting it over again, and starting over again, starting it over again, which I was once a victim of because of ignorance. But this is it. When you see an error, read it. In reading it, then you can be able to fix it. So let me digress from that. So common causes of this particular issue, which is, of course, the blue screen of death. One of it is a piece of hardware on your computer is malfunctioning or is not compatible. Yes, it could be your RAM. It could be anything in your computer that has, of course, that makes the computer to work and it's not working the way it should, or maybe it needs to be upgraded or something. It might actually bring up this screen. So for me, escalate to an engineer if you don't know what to do. Then another is that the software controlling a piece of hardware, which is the driver or firmware, is out of date. So of course, earlier I mentioned something about upgrading. So you only upgrade or you update whenever your software or hardware is out of date or is expired. So another is your main hard disk doesn't have enough free memory space available on it. So this is another cause. You're having too many storage, like too many things in your storage device. Of course, expect something to happen. It even happens to our phones too. When you have too many things inside, sometimes you just find out that it should just go blank and come back on. You start seeing different types of malfunctions. Then another is this: your computer has installed a virus or other malware programs. The primary let me use the word duty. The primary duty, the main reason why virus and malwares are being created is actually to disrupt operations in a device. So whenever you find that my computer is misbehaving once in a while and all that, also check it. It could actually be infected. Then your BIOS or hardware setting is misconfigured. So maybe you give your PC to an engineer. If it does not set up the BIOS well, you can also find out that the computer will give you this kind of output. Why? Because the necessary software or the necessary hardware that is needed. No, not use the word software. Let me use the necessary hardware, because even these hardwares are being configured. That is what the BIOS is for. So whenever they are not configured the way it should, of course, you find out that there will be a stop error. So let's look at, yes, sir. Is this second speaker around?
Sorry for disrupting. I want to ask Taiwo if he wants to present.
Okay.
Good morning, Taiwo. Taiwo, good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
I'm not. Good morning, sir.
Yes.
I'm not set. I'm not. Yes, my slide have not been approved. I'm not ready.
All right.
I'm still working on it.
No problem. Okay, Mr. Michael, please try and round off around 9:40.
All right. Thank you very much. So troubleshooting suggestions: one is use system restore to revert your computer to a state where it is working. Another is go to your control panel and uninstall old programs that you don't use anymore, which is what I said earlier. Install and run an antivirus program to repair infected files. Very important. Install updates for your operating system. Yes, whenever your Windows is telling you update me, please update it. It has good reasons why it's doing that, because while you are updating your Windows, you are actually updating your drivers. You are putting things that maybe were not there before. Maybe Windows have added new features. You are actually installing them automatically in that particular operation you carry out. Then I'd have change the settings for your BIOS and hardware back to their defaults. Make sure all hardware components of your computer are properly installed. Then test your computer's hardware for failures like RAM or hard disks and replace if necessary. So another problem with this, my computer won't turn on. So let's look at the description. You press the computer, or rather you press your power button and your computer won't turn on, or it powers up and then promptly shuts down. The good news is this: it's almost always a hardware problem. So you can usually immediately rule out any software-related culprits. So of course, whenever your computer is shutting down, just know that fine, this is mostly a hardware issue. And most of the reasons why this happens, aside from hardware issues, virus and malware programs also causes this, because there is a particular kind of attack where you find out that a virus is being, maybe it infects a particular computer, and this particular program, which is a virus, we keep on loading the CPU with a whole lot of information, unnecessary ones. Maybe it can repeat just only one message. It can repeat it a million trillion times and keep working up the computer. You find out that before you know it, the CPU crashes. So this can actually make your computer also turn off. So aside from, of course, being the hardware issue, virus can also bring about this kind of problem. So common causes, one of it is that one or more power switches to the computer system aren't turned on. So just imagine your computer just trips off. It could actually be that maybe you didn't connect your charger. That is your power, the power pack. You didn't actually plug it to your PC. It can also be that even in the power pack, you know that you have another extension where you can actually plug to your socket, and then the other side has a port. Now, it could be that that particular port was not fixed. So, of course, switches can actually bring about your computer not coming on. Then, another is that your computer's power supply or power cord is missing. I just mentioned that unplugged. I mentioned that all faulty. Yes, maybe the power pack is bad. Then one or more of your computer hardware components are improperly connected or faulty. Then another is your computer CMOS battery is out of power. That is your battery. When you talk about your CMOS battery, it's talking about the battery inside your PC. Yeah. If it's out of power, you shouldn't expect it to come back on. It's just like our phone. Then the power button itself isn't working. That could be an issue. So on troubleshooting suggestions, one of it is that make sure your switch leading to your computer's power supply is on. Then another is that make sure all power cables on your computer are connected and set to the correct voltage. Remove all intermediary power sources and plug your computer directly into an outlet. Then disconnect all peripheral devices such as mouse, keyboard, and etc. before trying to start your computer. A lot of us are guilty of this particular part. You want to turn off your computer. In fact, let's start with a flash drive. You just want to remove a flash. You want to remove a flash drive, and the next thing you just pull it out without even having to shut it down from your PC. Or maybe you want to shut down your computer. You have everything on, like for those that use mouse, your mouse is still there and all that. You just shut it off like that, Rather, you just shut it down that way. It's not actually advisable. It can cause a problem. Then open your computer case and make sure all hardware components are properly connected. Then replace your CMOS battery. That is, if you find out that your CMOS battery, which is the battery in your local machine, is bad. Then replace your hard drive or motherboard. Hard drive is most of the problems that we have with our PCs are hard drive. And it's because it is actually the hard drive in fact, it's one of the key components of every device, even your phone, to your tablets, to your PC, whatever make it might be, whether Mac or whether Dell and all that. The hard drive actually plays a very important role because the hard drive actually determines the speed of our applications we also run. The hard drive actually determines, okay, fine, how much capacity of information that computer can actually hold. So please, let's take care of our hard drives. Let's take care of it because it matters a lot when it comes to the computer. And it's as good as the motherboard itself. It's as important as the motherboard. The motherboard is, of course, the chip within it, the one for those that have the computer, that is a laptop, because the motherboard of the laptop is different from the motherboard for a desktop. The motherboard of the desktop is found inside the CPU. That is inside the CPU. If you open it, you find the motherboard within it. But for the laptop, the motherboard, since we are having the keyboard in the motherboard, we are having all parts connected to motherboard, and that is why it is so compact. So, of course, the motherboard, especially for the laptop, is very important. Anything happens to the motherboard, that's the end of that computer. So, my computer continually or randomly restarts or shuts down, especially while it is booting. So this one I'll read through so that I will entertain questions, as will be containing only 4 points. So general description of this issue is this: your computer randomly starts and shuts down on you while you are using it. You are just walking around, all of a sudden it just shuts down, it just offs right on your face. So, or shortly after booting up, your computer crashes and shuts down or forces you to restart it, like the blue screen of death. That particular problem we actually tended to in the second point, which is sometimes associated with this problem. This can be caused by a few different things, and some of them require more work to fix than others. Now, what are the common causes whenever your computer just shuts down while you are working? The first one is that your operating system is missing a key update. That is why it's very important. Whenever Windows is asking, update me, please update it. Then another is that one or more of your computer's device driver programs are out of date. I actually fixed one similar to that, though the system PC did not shut down, but the camera was not working. A lot of us have been having these camera issues. Just update the driver of your camera. So many of us, when we come on meetings, say, my camera is not working. Yes, it's not working. I also experience it. In fact, every now and then it happens. So whenever you have this issue, just remember to update the camera driver. The first thing you have to do is you have to install an image device, or rather an image driver. After installing an image driver, you also install the type of image driver you want. Then you will enable the camera and then update. That is, if you already have a camera driver and then it's not working anymore, you can update. But if you don't have at all, then you have to install a new camera driver. So that's for camera. Your computer has installed a virus or other malware programs. That can also be the cause of it shutting down and shutting down. Then your computer motherboard, RAM again, and hard disk are damaged. So these are the major causes. And how to troubleshoot it is this: make sure you have installed all recommended updated packages for your operating system. Everything needed for your operating system to work, please make sure that you are updating it, e.g. your driver. Then make sure the device drivers for your computer hardware components are all updated. I've already mentioned that. Install, update, and run an antivirus program to repair infected files. Some of these files act like, they are just like leeches. This, just like every virus in biology, we know that virus cannot live without a host. So the computer is a host. That is how they breed. So what we have to do is that we have to put an antivirus. Antivirus can just act like an antimicrobial, resistance, where it just fights against that particular virus, like it fights against that program that is going to infect your computer. Then take out a RAM module and start your computer. If it doesn't work, put it back and try another. Another is replace your hard drive or RAM modules with an experienced repair person if necessary. Very important. Please leave your computer to somebody that is experience. Most of the issues we have sometimes is because we give our PCs to people who do not understand what it takes to not just troubleshoot, but to repair our computers. So this is where I'll be stopping for today. Maybe some other time I'll continue. So any questions? This is 9:40.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Yeah, if we have any question, I believe everyone should have question, because one way or the other, we have been victim of all these system malfunctioning and every other thing. So do we have any question?
Okay, if
So,
no one asks a question,
I think
ask a
let me ask a question.
Okay.
Yes, I've heard some things about antivirus. Especially there's this traditional means by all these street engineers about whenever they format your system for you, and they tend to they put 2 antiviruses on your system. If I could remember, they normally put this 360 antivirus, and some other we had Avast antivirus to it. They will say to make it to make the antivirus whole thing work much more better. And I've discovered that most time this antivirus, whenever you input your flash drive into the system, and immediately this antivirus, I think it is 360 antivirus, that one would immediately just there's a way to just turn all your files into shortcuts. And if you want to access those files, you need to open, when you double click on the shortcut on your flash drive, you need to open a new file manager to just open. But I just want to ask, because I used to say that these antivirus, I think they are virus on their own. I used to say, why will an antivirus be? You understand what I mean? So
Yeah.
I want to ask, does all those antivirus, are they really working? Or because I prefer to use these Windows Defender that come with our Windows system. So I just want to know about those antivirus.
Okay, thank you very much for that. It's a very good question. I actually tended to something similar to this few weeks back, though not in the organization. Now, let's start with Bincom's policy. Bincom's policy is that you don't use any you don't install any antivirus or any software, any package. You don't install it outside that of the organization. There is one that the organization has already provided. If you need it, then you have to pass through the necessary route. Now, why is that? Most of these antivirus, most of them, the truth is that they are not working. And sometimes, as you said, they act like the virus itself. Some weeks back, some weeks back, I was asked that, the organization, actually, I'm living in an organization. That is the truth. I'm living in an organization. And in this particular institution, they have an antivirus. Whenever the users use it, they find out that their files, already the antivirus removes their files. So the person was trying to ask me that, okay, fine. Does it mean that you should not use the antivirus anymore? I said, yes, please. Instead of you losing your files, it's not all antivirus that are really antivirus, and some of them are not the best to use. It's better to stick with what you know. And having to put 2 or 3 antivirus for me does not up the game of your of the protection of your, what is good is good. Instead of putting one or two, why don't you advise, okay, fine, if you know that you want to put a good security, like you want to up the security of your system, okay, why don't you pay for this particular antivirus? They are paid versions. It's not how many, as far as I'm concerned. So for me, if any antivirus is making life difficult, please don't use it. Don't use it. And there are some antivirus too that because they are installing it, some applications will not work. There are some like that, e.g. SmartDAV. Because of you are using SmartDAV, some application will not work. For me, why will I do that? So I'd rather just stick with my Windows Defender.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
So do we have any other question before we end the session this morning? So if we don't have any other one,